The Wii took the world by storm, and that's no surprise. I mean, just take a look at those sales numbers. Behind the success was one brilliant game. Not only did it sell the console, but it also sold people on the console. That game was Wii Sports. When people grabbed the brand new Wii Remote to serve a tennis ball or hit a home run, it just felt different. The Wii Remote was the future, and ideally you'd want to get your hands on a second one, maybe even a third. And this is exactly where Wii Play takes part. Each copy of Wii Play came bundled with a Wii Remote. Buying a new Wii Remote would cost $40, but for $50 you could get Wii Play. When you take into account that most Wii games at the time costed the same, and that it's similar to Wii Sports in terms of branding, then we got ourselves the easiest purchase of the decade. While Wii Sports wasn't necessarily considered a sports collection game at large, Wii Play was without a doubt a minigame collection. It had 9 unique minigames that mainly focused on the Wii Remote pointer. So how good were these minigames? Do they live up to the quality of Wii Sports, or are they another fish in the sea of Wii shovelware? Well, there's only one way to find out. Right off the bat, everything about this title screen is just so lighthearted and welcoming. From the bubbly effect to the music, it immediately feels as if you're at home. This sort of style applies to pretty much every area of the game, but where it's the most abundant is the very menu where the mini games are. When you go into the menu, one of the first things you'll see is your Mii front and center with the 9 mini games surrounding them, bubbly icons and all. When you point the Wii Remote at the screen, your Mii's focus will follow the cursor, and they will even react when you click on them. The Mii's running in the background are nice too, definitely makes it feel more lively. It's not every day that you see a menu with this much going on in it. Messing around this menu is fun and all, but you know what's even more fun? The minigames. Or so I hope. I'll be covering these in order from left to right, and the first one on here is the shooting range, which utilizes pointing and shooting. The game takes place in this open, vast green field. It pretty clearly resembles the same field used in Duck Hunt, which is actually what this minigame is inspired off of. The first set of things you get to shoot are balloons. Red balloons, blue balloons, yellow balloons, they got them all. They float slowly upward, so they're pretty easy to shoot, but it isn't without strategy. You can try and shoot the same color balloon twice in a row to get more points, but there's also a duck that will fly across the screen and when hit gives a good amount of points. Every stage has these ducks, and they can sometimes be pretty out of the way, so you have to be quick in order to catch them. Stage 2 has you shooting at targets, which is fairly standard, but it can actually get pretty fun trying to hit all the targets on screen before they disappear. Just don't hit the purple target, since that'll set you back 3 points. On the other side, there are these golden targets that show up periodically, which give you 10 points. At the end, there's a gold target and a purple target which show up very briefly. Stage 3 is a bit more traditional, as instead of balloons or targets, there are now clay pigeons just like on the NES. The clay pigeons come from the side of the screen and either award you 3 or 5 points depending on how quick you are to hit them. Stage 4 has these Wii soda cans. Everybody want a sip of the Wii branded soda? Well, I know I do, but somebody drank it all and now these cans are empty. The cans fall slowly at first, but the more you shoot it, the more it crumbles and the faster it falls until the 5th hit, which destroys it. I do kind of wonder what these cans are made of to where it takes 5 whole shots from a gun to destroy them, but whatever, let's just move on to the next stage, which is also the last. UFOs come from the sky and try to abduct your Miis. If it catches them, then you can just shoot down the UFO to free them. Just don't let the UFO go off screen with one of your Miis, because if you do, then it's pretty fair to say they're a goner. There are a few ways, but the trickiest is the last one, in which several golden UFOs attempt to catch all of your remaining Miis at once. If you manage to save them all, then you're in for a lot of points, since each Mii is worth 10 points. At the end, your current combo, which is how many things you have hit in a row without missing, gets added to the score. I'd also like to take this time to mention medals. You might recognize the design, and well, they work similar in Wii Play as they do in Wii Sports. You'll earn a medal varying from bronze all the way up to platinum based on your score. After achieving a medal, you'll get a notification sent to your Wii message board with a fun message about your performance and advice on how to improve your score. These messages are unique to each minigame. See, this one said I'm a manager of some sort of laser hockey team. Anyway, Shooting Range is the perfect minigame to start off Wii Play with its simple controls yet challenging and intuitive gameplay. If you like the final stage of Shooting Range, then this next one might be right up your alley because it's all about finding Miis. I guess it is called Find Me after all. The objective is simple, point and click on the specified Miis. Sometimes it could be identical Miis, while other times it could be the ones who stand up from the rest of a crowd. The Miis used come from your console alongside a few randomly generated ones. Have duplicate Miis? Good luck, because things are going to get pretty rough. Just like how the objective varies, so do the environments. The game starts off in this basic street, but by level 4 you're at the tennis bleachers. Later on you can see me swimming in a lake, standing on escalators, and even floating in outer space. So that's where the objective Miis went. All of these environments can also take place in the dark, which makes you use your Wii Remote cursor like a flashlight. You start off with a 15-second time limit, but for every level you complete, 10 seconds gets added, which caps out at 120 seconds. Though, if you select the wrong Mii, that'll subtract 5 seconds from the clock. The game ends once you finish level 99 or if time runs out. Overall, it can get pretty repetitive, but still fun to come back to and offers a decent enough time to justify its inclusion. Maybe the tennis stance and Find Me were foreshadowing the third minigame being table tennis, because here we are now. You would think since it is table tennis that you would be playing to score 6 points, maybe even 11, but no. In single player, you're doing a rally with the computer who's a floating hand for whatever reason. You're tasked with returning the ball 100 times, which may seem easy at first because the pace starts slow, but it doesn't take long for things to start picking up. The more you rally, the bigger the crowd watching the game gets. If I saw 2 floating hands intensely hitting a ball back and forth, I'd want to watch 2, though I still can't tell you if that would be out of amusement or fear. After you reach 100, the game ends and you get a golden medal, but the highest medal you can get is platinum, so just how do you get it? Well, instead of rallying 100 times, you're going to have to reach 200, and this time, you aren't limited to the medal requirement. You could even rally up to 999, but let's be honest, anything above 400 is lucrative. Despite the gameplay having next to zero depth, something about it is just so weirdly fun. Every time I come back to Wii Play, this is one of the minigames I always look forward to the most. Pose Me, the 4th minigame, brings an entire new axis of movement since now you can tilt the Wii Remote itself. You switch between 3 poses using the A and B buttons. The gameplay involves popping the falling bubbles before they submerge in what I can only assume to be water. Your Mii will have to match the silhouette shown in the bubble by changing poses and changing angles, but once you do, then they'll snap in place, sort of like a magnet. If you're looking for a comparison, I'll say it's pretty similar to those hole-in-the-wall game shows. While playing, you might notice these rainbow bubbles, and they're pretty special because once popped, it'll freeze time for everything but yourself. This effect wears off after a few seconds, or if you pop all the bubbles on the screen at that time. It's a small yet powerful tool. It can definitely help you get out of a spot where you're getting bombarded with bubbles. The difficulty picks up nicely from level to level, and the bonus points you get for a perfect performance increases too. So, I got to admit, the images in the background, they can get pretty odd. Like, flowers and birds are nice, it makes sense, it's mellow, but alligators, frogs, lions? Alright, what's the meaning of this? But I guess it does make certain levels more memorable, like this one with the swan which has all the bubbles upside down, or this one with the butterfly that has you popping bubbles in rows of 4. In fact, every level has a certain layout to them, with some being pretty noticeable while others will take you a bit longer to get the hang of. Pose Me is a pretty good minigame. It can be mesmerizing but also intense and challenging later on. Laser Hockey, the 5th minigame, marks the halfway point of Wii Play. Across the last 4 games, we've been introduced to 3 different ways to control the Wii Remote, but Laser Hockey just uses the motions from Pose Me. Laser Hockey is pretty much the go-to when at an arcade for most people, including myself. In any case, Laser Hockey should be fairly faithful to it, but a good concept is nothing without a good execution, so just how well does it play? Okay, so visually, it goes for a more sleek and futuristic feel. Despite laser being in the name, the environment looks more like LEDs. Then again, I'm not a photonics engineer, so what do I know? The goal is to score as many goals as possible against the CPU within the 2-minute time frame. The CPU you go against starts off pretty slow at first. In fact, you can just hit the puck diagonally and there isn't much you'll be able to do about it. But as you score more goals, it starts to be able to react faster. The puck also gains speed, but it gets faster with each hit as opposed to each goal. Having the CPU and puck speeds be independent from each other leads to some pretty noticeable pacing issues, which is overall the biggest flaw of this minigame. You can be in the middle of an intense rally, but then all of a sudden the puck launches at a weird angle and now the CPU stops to slowly return it. The puck getting as fast as it does actually gets pretty fun. It adds intensity, but it also mostly leads to swinging the paddle rather than any sort of thoughtful play. Regardless of those issues, it succeeds at capturing that classic air hockey feel. Like the game says, hockey can get pretty rough, even laser hockey. And you know what? I'm not even going to doubt that claim. Laser hockey marked the halfway point, so now we're in the latter half, and the 6th minigame being Billiards is a really strong one to kick things off. The new control scheme takes advantage of the Wii Remote's depth perception. It also uses the Wii Remote cursor to aim where the pool stick strikes the cue ball. You start off with a break. You can use the D-pad to change your view on the ball and also get a bird's eye view by clicking the A button. Once you've got everything set as you like, press and hold the B button, move the Wii Remote backwards and charge forward and watch it all unfold. Among all the rolling, a few might even fall inside one of the pockets. Ideally, you want to sink as many as possible from the break, but sometimes even just sinking 1 or 2 will give you a good head start. After the break, you'll hit the cue ball from wherever it left off, and you'll have to sink each ball in numerical order. Striking of the numbered balls before the one that is highlighted by the arrow will result in a foul. While a foul does let you place the cue ball anywhere on the table, it subtracts from the score in the long run, so it's best to try and avoid them where possible. After every ball has been sinked, you get your score, which is based on how many shots you took before sinking them all. Also those fouls, yeah, each of them subtract 3 points. The Platinum Medal requires you to get a score of 60, which equates to 7 shots with no fouls. If you're playing this one solely for the Platinum, then it's going to be pretty frustrating because of the slim margin of error, but otherwise, this one is super enjoyable and arguably one of the best games in Wii Play. It's sort of like Wii Sports Golf. The premise is simple, but the techniques in it are so complex and trying to best your own score can come down to the wire. The motions of Billiards were fairly advanced, and they carry over to fishing, which is the 7th minigame. Having pretty much full movement over the rod can lead to some actual strategy when it comes to trying to catch certain fish, especially the bonus fish that give you twice the points. There are multiple types of fish, all having unique attributes and giving varying amount of points. The plain old fish and the nibbler are on the more basic side. You don't really have any sort of gimmick and are relatively easy to catch. The touchy fish is harder to catch since it gets startled if you approach it wrong. Catch a small fry and you're going to be down 50 points. Every now and then, the mysterious fish will show, but you need to be fast because it disappears quickly. Finally, the purple fish who is the hardest to catch but gives an insane amount of points. Being named King of the Pond has gotta mean something, and it's because of the bonus changing to him whenever he spawns in. These fish may seem hard to remember, but it doesn't take long to figure out what they do, especially with how much their physical appearance stands out. The childlike crown drawings of them looks really vibrant and unique. So much so that I even got a keychain of them for my high school lanyard. I'm still waiting for that fateful day where someone recognizes it. Even though the current score and number of fish caught are always displayed at the top left, there's still this results screen that shows each fish caught. It's redundant, but the results music is so good that I honestly don't even mind. Something I'd like to mention is that a common theme across all the minigames is the results music. They all share the same general layout, a sort of motif, but having different tempos and instruments to match the feeling of each game. Here, I'll play some short clips and then you might understand what I'm talking about. It makes the minigames feel much more connected to one another despite them being vastly different. Usually. Back on the topic of fishing, I'll say this one isn't really talked about all that much. Is it bad? No, far from it. In fact, I'll say it's one of the better games, but it doesn't seem to be anyone's favorite. Earlier, I had mentioned that Wii Play utilizes the Wii Remote cursor, and from what we've seen that mostly has stood true, but the 8th minigame charged those that completely out the window. Instead of holding the Wii Remote upright, you hold it on its side and tilt the Wii Remote to control the cow. The goal is to reach the end of this yarn course while running into scarecrows. You get a 5-point bonus if you can knock down the entire line of them, and there's also the crown ones that move around and give 10 points when hit. There are a few of these hurdles scattered about, and you'll have to pull the Wii remote upwards to jump over them. Once, or I guess if, you reach the end, then the remaining time on the clock gets added to your score. Hitting all the scarecrows will set you at 300 points, and the platinum requirement is 325 points. The window may seem tight, but it's actually quite easy to get a perfect score with 25 seconds left on the clock. But that's where the biggest issue is. The platinum is super easy, and you play on the same track every time, so there's pretty much no reason to come back to it, because if you played it once, you've seen all that it has to offer. While the same could arguably be said about the other minigames, it is most apparent here. It's a damn shame too, since a game like this has so much potential, but I guess all that potential was put into the next and final game. Tanks. You play as a tank and are tasked with taking down the enemy tanks. I mean, could you have guessed? It seems simple, but with 9 different enemy tanks and an astonishing 100 stages to get through, there's a lot to unpack here. Let's start things off in the first mission. You aim with the pointer, press B to shoot, press A to place a mine, and use the nunchuck to move. Since you go against this brown tank that stands completely still and rarely shoots, you can pretty much go right up to it without any sort of strategy. Now the next stage introduces the gray tank that moves and shoots more than once in a blue moon. They aren't all that smart, but it's a step up. Teal tanks show up in mission 5 and actually start to pose a challenge. They fire these fast missiles that can be hard to react to if you don't see it coming. Oh, and also, you will get an extra life for every 5 missions you complete. 8th mission, yellow tanks are here. They're fast, but more notably they can place mines. You can shoot at their mines to detonate them, but sometimes they are hidden behind walls. So yeah, that will happen. Missions 10, 12, and 15 all have new tank types, with the first being the red tank, which is a smarter gray tank that can also have 3 bullets out at once. The green tank is next, and this thing is a menace. Seriously. It shoots the fast missiles that the teal tank has, except now it can ricochet 2 times and the shot is calculated too. When these are on the field, it is pretty much essential to take them out as soon as possible, because whether you expect it or not, you will get sniped. Not quite as menacing are the purple tanks, which share much of the same attributes as the player tank, being able to have 5 shots out at once and being able to place 2 mines. The only difference is that the player tank moves at an average speed while the purple tanks moves at a fast speed. If you can get through the next 4 stages against these 3 tanks, then you'll be at mission 20, named the final mission. It's a completely open arena, and the 2 tanks there are the white tanks. They're unique in the fact that they can turn invisible. They still leave marks behind, so you can try and predict where they are. Just spread your shots out and you'll be fine. So, we just beat tanks, right? Well, you know those 100 missions I mentioned earlier? Yeah, they still exist, but you have to beat the first 20 before you even get the chance at doing the next 80. This sucks because now you have to go through all 20 stages again, and they aren't easy, especially missions 17 and 19. But if you can get through those missions, then it's smooth sailing since most of the stages past 20 are randomly generated with the exception of every 10th stage. Despite the random generation, there are a decent amount of new stage levels you see as you get into later missions, and if you make it far enough to mission 50, you will get to see the black tank. It is the fastest tank and the smartest too. It shoots the same missiles that teal and green tanks do, but unlike them, it can also place mines. It isn't as bad as the green tanks, but it definitely poses a challenge. Learn how to play against each tank and you'll make it to mission 100 in no time. And when I say no time, I actually mean an hour because there's so much to go through. Mission 100, the true final mission. It uses the same layout from mission 1, but with a few random tanks scattered about. It's tricky, but if you manage to beat it, then you can consider yourself a legend. Okay, so that is everything in Wii Play. Is what I would say there wasn't a multiplayer mode. The multiplayer works with both players competing for the best score. Each win is tallied, so it provides incentive to compete on your own terms, like reaching 5 wins first. I say 5 because there are 9 minigames, but interestingly enough, all these minigames have been modified for multiplayer in some way, shape, or form. I already talked about these games in detail, so I'll keep things brief. Shooting range. In stage 2, shooting a purple target with your opponent's face on it will earn you 3 points, and in stage 5, both players' Miis are there. Find Mii. Clicking on the correct Mii first will get you 10 points, while getting one second will get you 5 points. The timer also starts at 120 and counts down, so you'll have to try and get through as many stages as possible. Table tennis. This one is vastly different since you're now trying to reach 11 points first. There are serving, changing of sides, and the ability to smash return the ball the opponent messed up with the return. Pose Me. The silhouettes in the bubbles are colored blue for player 1 and red for player 2. Popping the opposite color bubble will earn double points, and popping a rainbow bubble will not allow the other person to change poses nor pop bubbles. Laser Hockey. It remains mostly the same, except now the goal is to score 8 points first. I guess hiding the puck in the corner is no longer a viable strategy. Billiards. Who starts the break is determined by essentially a coin flip. If someone sinks a ball, then they get to go again until they either foul or don't sink a ball. When you foul, then on the other player's turn, they get to place the cue ball wherever they like, and even more cool, if the cue ball falls in a pocket after you sink a ball, then you don't get points for it. The amount of points you get depends on the number that's on the ball, so if you sink a 4 ball, then you get 4 points. Fishing. I don't know how you can make fishing competitive. Oh. The only adjustment made for 2 players was that if one rod gets a bite and the other player's rod is nearby, then it bites both the rods at once, so whoever yanks the Wii remote up first gets the fish. Charge. This one is way better than its single player counterpart. Instead of a 90-second clock, it is now 60 seconds, and the track doesn't seem to have an end. Because of that, there's a bigger focus on actually hitting the scarecrows. Oh, and like I said in my Mario Kart Wii video, bumping the other person off the track is always funny. Tanks. You're cooperating to make it through the missions, but also competing to have the most amount of enemy tanks destroyed. Also, instead of having lives, if both players die in the mission, then it ends. It's sorta confusing since you can kill the other player to not let them get any points for that stage, but it makes things harder. You could have the first 20 stages memorized since that's all the 2-player lets you go to, but the tank spawning positions are changed too. I think it would have worked better as solely versus. If table tennis could get a total rework, then I don't see why tanks couldn't, but it isn't bad by any means. And that's everything in Wii Play, for real this time. Despite the game getting very mixed reviews back in the day, there's still a lot of fun to be had. Sure, it wasn't as revolutionary or impactful as Wii Sports was, but it still holds up in its own way. Whether you're playing with a few friends or just looking for something easy to pick up every now and then, you can never really go wrong with it. It's an often forgotten gem of the Wii library, and if you're interested in getting it, then you can find a used copy for relatively cheap. Wii Play is still better value for $10 than Nintendo Switch Welcome Tour, am I right?